Welcome back to part 3 of the Westwood dress tutorial. In this third and final part, we'll be sewing the skirt to the bodice of the dress. Then it'll finally be time to reveal the finished dress. So without further ado, let's get into it. The first step in constructing the skirt is to finish the edge of the skirt between the center front and the triangle marked on the pattern. I just serged the edge of mine, but if you want a more luxurious finish, try binding the edge with a piece of silk cut on the bias. Once the edge is finished, fold it to the inside along the fold line and press. Next, form the pleats in the skirt, following the markings on the pattern. On the pattern, you can see arrows showing you which direction the pleats should go. Simply fold the pleats at the line located at the beginning of the arrow, then bring that fold to the line located at the end of the arrow. Use pins to hold the pleat in place. Here's a close-up of the pleat forming process. Again, simply fold the pleat at the line at the beginning of the arrow, and then bring that fold to the line at the other end of the arrow. Once the pleats are all formed, it's time to sew the skirt to the bodice. You'll need to make sure that you align the V at the front of the bodice with the V in the skirt. You'll also want to make sure that the boning channels marked on the skirt in the back are aligned with the boning channels in the bodice. After you've aligned those points in the skirt, pin the rest of the skirt to the bodice, making sure to leave the lining of the bodice free. You don't want to accidentally sew the lining to the skirt as well. Once you're done pinning, baste the skirt to the bodice. It's much easier to sew the skirt to the bodice with basting rather than pins. If you just pin the skirt to the bodice, the fabric will tend to shift during sewing, and the weight of the skirt can cause the pins to fall out. Just save yourself the aggravation and spend 5 minutes basting before you sew. Next, take your basted skirt to the machine and sew the skirt in. Be careful to move the lining out of the way while you're sewing. Again, you want to leave the lining free so we can turn it under in the next step. Once you're done, turn the dress right side out and press the seam you just sewed. Next, turn to the inside of the bodice and fold under 5/8 of an inch at the edge of the lining. Pin, then slip stitch in place so the raw edge of the skirt is enclosed within the lining and exterior of the bodice. This will give you a lovely clean finish to the inside of your bodice. Now note that the part of the bodice edge that you finished in the beginning should still be unattached to the skirt. If you haven't finished the corresponding edge of the skirt here, go ahead and do that, then fold the edge under and press. Next, we need to sew the snaps to the bodice and skirt. I'm demonstrating this part on the muslin, as it's quite hard to see the snaps on the busy plaid fabric. Sew the first set of snaps at the black circles marked on the pattern. This pair of snaps will hold the pleat in place. Now sew the second pair of snaps. Start by sewing the bottom of the snap at the place that you marked on the bodice right at the beginning of this project. If your mark has disappeared in the sewing process, which mine did, don't worry. Just make another mark 4 inches from the center front. Next, sew the other half of the snap to the skirt at the clear circle marked on the skirt pattern. This snap should go on the inside of the skirt, so it can be snapped together with the snap on the bodice. So when you're putting the dress on, you'll undo all of these snaps to give yourself some room to get the dress up around your hips or down over your head. Then, once the dress is on, simply form the pleat by snapping together the first set of snaps. Then secure the pleat to the dress by snapping together the second set of snaps. And now for the last step. Hem your skirt by folding up 1/2 inch at the hem, then folding again another 1/2 inch. Stitch to secure. Repeat with all 4 edges of the skirt. And that's it! The skirt is done and the dress is pretty much all finished. There's just one last optional step. This dress has straps that are set quite wide, and it's very easy for bra straps to show while you're wearing this dress. To solve that problem, I decided to add some simple bra strap holders to ensure that the straps stay hidden beneath the dress strap. These strap holders are really simple to make. Simply sew a set of snaps to either end of a 2-inch piece of ribbon. I used some twill tape for my stash. Then, hand sew one end of the holder to the strap of the dress. When you're wearing the dress, simply insert the bra strap into the holder and then snap the end of the holder in place to secure. And with that, the dress is done. Here are some pics of the finished dress. I love how the draped neckline accentuates the bust, and I also love the nipped-in waist created by all the boning that we added to the bodice. The full pleated skirt with the handkerchief hem is really fun, and it moves beautifully when I walk. I hope this video has inspired you to make your own Westwood-style corset dress. If you end up making one, please let me know in the comments. I'd love to see what you made.